And with a long-awaited development for Augusta's Laney Bethlehem area. A real step forward, in fact. For years, Augusta leaders have been working to make Foundry Place a reality. Now, final approval is getting closer, and some, as the finish line approaches, are criticizing the project. News Channel 6's senior reporter George Escalade live in our newsroom now. And George, a lot of the steps to make this whole project a reality have already been done.
Right. The city acquired the 7.6-acre site. That included having 3 renters relocated to new homes to make way for the project. The site has been rezoned, and now the Urban Redevelopment Agency is preparing to issue bonds to finance it. But some say this development isn't doing enough for all members of the community. It's an empty lot off Wrightsboro Road, but soon it will be one of the backbones of the revitalization of the Laney Bethlehem neighborhoods.
For a long time, we talked about the transition from neighborhood back into thriving community. We talked about viability. We talked about livability. So, quote unquote, here we are.
What's here is Foundry Place, a 221-unit housing and commercial development. The city's Urban Redevelopment Agency voting to advertise the project, the first step to having the agency issue up to $27 million in bonds to finance the development. The city will be repaid as the developer collects rents, which will all be market rate.
The way I would describe that would be, it would be for the person who can afford it.
Former Mayor Bob Young chairs the URA and says since the city is financing the project, the city should insist on having some of the units be set aside for lower income.
That's a pretty glaring omission to me when you're trying to rebuild a neighborhood and you want it to be a mixed income neighborhood. And I think the city ought to take a hard look at requiring developers who are moving in there to have an affordable housing component.
Young's agency can't tell the housing department what to do with Foundry Place, but commissioners could insist on having some of the units be set aside for affordable housing. You would like to see that in there?
Oh, absolutely. I've always felt that way. It's always been a thorn in the side for me.
Now, commissioners are scheduled to make a final vote on approving the bonds in March. If they do not alter the financing plan by adding affordable housing, the development is scheduled for construction to begin by the middle of this year.